accident, one thing leads to another. Your injury leads to treatment. Treatment leads to hospital bills. Bills lead to debt. Debt leads to stress. The advocates can help relieve that stress. Having an advocate attorney on your side leads to faster resolutions, fair outcomes, and a peaceful recovery for you. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show, live on a football Friday, November 14th already. We are just 2 weeks away from Black Friday, and 2 weeks from now, Jake's going to be a fat whale ass after eating Thanksgiving. I mean, it's going to be amazing right here on The Monty Show. Okay. Listen, I think it is amazing that we get to come together here on Friday afternoons and talk about college football. We have a huge weekend for you. As always. And, I just want to start the show by shouting out Oak State James, who's been a member of the show for 9 months.
Wow, dude. Burner number what? What is this? Burner number 5 for you?
James, really appreciate the patronage of the show and, supporting the program and such. Already off to a flying start.
Nice job.
Morty in the puffy vest. Yeah, Jake, I mean, are you going to buy yourself a new vest this weekend, or what do you got going on?
Nope. Just waiting for it to cool off a little bit in the house, and then we can get the Columbia vest going, and, it just gets a little bit too warm.
A little bit in the house.
Well, it's just if I wear the Columbia vest that I love, that I got, I'm a big fan of it, it's just very warm. That's the thing.
Well, don't have a fan. Don't have any, such as in like a window.
Yeah,
what is
but
this,
then if
the
I
Iraq?
if I open the window, Buddy the contractor's out here with his nail gun, ruining the show in the background. So I can't open the window.
You grow up. Oh, I got problems. Oh, you got to Google the shit I lived through. Good Lord.
I know.
I'm ready to go. Today was another one of those shouldn't have got out of bed today days.
We don't take any shit.
Yeah, just shouldn't have gotten out of bed. My dog won't go outside in the rain. It's too good for it. Oh, it's raining outside? Yeah, time to crap on the rug. Right? Which he did not do, because he'll never do that. But what's clack-a-lackin'? Not much. Jake, where did you park the DeLorean? I don't understand the DeLorean.
Yeah,
reference.
what is that? What does that mean, dude?
It's a reference to your vest, but because James is saying it, it's not funny, and I'm not going to acknowledge its humor. I don't understand I don't understand the DeLorean thing.
Okay, all right.
Dog won't deuce outside until May 2026. I mean, hey, come here. Come.
You take you a deuce. You don't sit there and look at it. You flush it and move on.
Fucking guy. Come here. Come. See, has my dog ever been on the show? Come here. Let's show you to the people.
Yeah.
Come. Up. Come here. Okay. There he is. Here's the prima donna. Say hi.
Hi.
Here's the prima donna, boys. This is the little monster who won't go outside because it's raining and he may melt.
No,
not. I really, but he never craps on the rug, do you, buddy? No.
Let's go somewhere.
Yeah, let's go somewhere. Like back to bed, you fucking jerk off. Anyway, so I tried to take him outside. I had to like pull him outside today because it's like 50 degrees, and of course now it's stopped. Famlore says perfect looking dog for you, Monty. Thanks. Did you see the Kennard Davis car? Ooh, okay. And I've been waiting for this. I kind of knew this was going to come up, and I'm curious what you guys think. Kennard Davis, BYU. I don't think there's any other way to put it, right? Kennard Davis, BYU basketball star. When all Jamal Williams of sorts.
In God's name, image, and likeness.
Kennard Davis, BYU basketball star, was arrested for suspicion of DUI yesterday. And it is a fait accompli at this point. I mean, I think all of us recognize that when you live the Retzloff, you're going to die the Retzloff. And my guess is we will not see. My guess is we will not see Kennard Davis again this year in a BYU uniform. He will either redshirt or transfer, or you're just not going to be able to. There's just no way to get around it. It's.
Yeah, and I think he needs a redshirt. He needs a redshirt. He needs a transfer, and he needs to start new somewhere else, and that's what will happen.
I don't know if he starts new somewhere else. I think that's likely to happen. I don't think he'll. In today's world, he's a legit star. He's a transfer. You guys may know he came in from Southern Illinois. But you're going to be hard pressed to play at BYU, and justifiably so. Football is 87th at BYU. I don't even know where you go from here. It's been a good ride. The 2 games, I think he played in 2 games, and he was awesome the 1 game I saw him playing.
Yeah, it's been a nice ride having you on the roster. We'll see you later. That's where you go.
Yeah,
it's pretty simple.
Yeah. Then the worst part is, it looks like the accident wasn't his fault. That's what it sounds like. Somebody ran a red light and hit him. And I mean, it's your fault because you're driving under the influence or suspicion of, because let's not convict a guy before he goes to court. But it certainly looks like he's going to be cooked at BYU.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
It's just how it is, man. There's rules.
Yeah. He's not going to get the Ollie Gordon run some stairs in Oak State. James will take care of the rest.
I must have done that 1,000 times, Monty. What's the big deal?
Yeah, what's the big deal, Monty? It's just really, I mean, you're not probably even that far off. I mean, if he wants to play college basketball, he probably has to do that. But it just, it sucks. He'll be on the Utes in a month. Yeah, there you go. You mean former BYU basketball star? There
Correct.
You go.
Correct.
King of Thailand says it's 77 degrees at 5 a.m. Hua Hin. Well, good morning, Hua Hin. My dogs take World War II submarine-sized shits. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm glad that they're moving, which is amazing. But yeah, really unfortunate for BYU, because you're going to lose a really good player. And transfer to Miami, go to rehab if needed, put it behind him. Yeah. And BYU will give him the help that he needs. It's not like BYU is going to turn their back on him, but he is not LDS. So he will probably be forgotten in that community. And maybe he should be. I mean, I think when you go to BYU, you know that you agree to a very certain set of lifestyle decisions, and this is not it. I can tell you right now, this is not it. Right.
And it's just decision making, right?
As I sip from my can of plastic, Jake, you were going to say what now?
Well, I was just saying, it's just decision making. It's just I think it's not just that it's BYU. It's that the culture at BYU right now is very professional. It's very, hey, we're paying you a lot of money to be here, and we have extremely high expectations in this basketball program right now. And getting DUIs, whether the accident was your fault or not, is unacceptable, and you can't be here. Like, that's just what it is. And I love that. I think that ultimate accountability is what every 18 to 20-year-old needs as an athlete. But, again, it's just the thing we always have to remember is the point is not that he's not going to play at BYU anymore. The point is that he chose to get in a motor vehicle after drinking a bunch and put other people's lives in danger. And I don't really care if it's his fault or not. That's a bad decision. And that's ultimately what the issue is.
And I give BYU a lot of credit, and I've talked about this a lot. I don't think they should ever compromise the honor code. I don't think they should ever compromise morals. I don't think they should ever compromise issues of moral turpitude. Sports, when you are at a faith-based institution, and I would tell you when you're living your life, but when you go play at BYU, you know what you're getting into. They don't try to sugarcoat or hide the honor code. And it's one of the things I greatly respect about BYU. It doesn't matter who you are, the starting quarterback or a basketball star. You did this, okay, well, we appreciate you very much, your contributions to the university, and we wish you the best in the future.
Have a great day.
That's the unfortunate part, right? Boyd Lake, the SEO King of America. We hope the best for him. I always hope they make their way back. I also understand if they want to transfer. Absolutely. Absolutely. Mark Hales, the report is that it wasn't alcohol, but pain medication. Well,
guess we'll find out, bro.
And if it is, let's hope he had a prescription, But we'll see. I mean, there's been so much thrown around about what. Anytime I hear DUI, I think, well, and I think all of us think that it's alcohol. But yeah, that's very true. Nobody has specifically said it's alcohol. That's all I've heard, frankly. But who knows? You don't believe anything you hear until it's reported in a police report, and hopefully we never hear, because frankly, it's none of our business. It's none of our business. Yeah, but again. Who says who? Says who? And if you're on painkillers and you get a DUI, well, you probably shouldn't be driving a car. So whether it is...
Yeah, last time I checked, it's DUI. It's driving under influence, not driving under alcohol.
Yeah.
Under the influence.
I really... I hope the best for him, man. I hope the best for him. I do. But he shouldn't have been driving. If you got a DUI, in all likelihood, you probably were not in good enough shape to drive. So, painkillers according to who? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Case Smitty, I'll give them that. They definitely don't hide the fact that they not playing with you about the rules. Nope. Nor should they, Smitty. Right? I mean, rules are the rules. And we talked about Baylor yesterday. You don't see those kinds of issues at BYU. You don't see knock on carbon fiber tabletop, but you don't see Baylor-like issues at BYU. You don't, because it's zero tolerance. They don't play. They don't play at all. I mean, well, you're not wrong, right? You're not. He'd been injured, so pain meds is a possibility, so it might be a huge, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Either way, it's a DUI. I mean, unfortunately, and at this point, it is suspicion of DUI. I hope it's the best for him, but he clearly should not have been. Yeah, Boyd, it's a bad decision either way.
Yep.
To Jake's point, I take painkillers to handle the terrible sports takes. Just teasing you, James.
Brother,
man.
Dude.
Wow.
Already?
Program.
Wow, James catching a stray in a BYU story. Phenomenal Hebrew, all team SRT catching a stray in a BYU
nice
story.
Job, bro. Nice job. Excellent job, dude.
Oh my God. So good. But if it was pain medication, then it would not be a violation of the honor code. No, but the DUI would be. The DUI would be. So no, Jameson, I totally disagree. I've had this conversation 1,000 times with people at BYU. A violation of the honor code is a violation of the honor code. There is no delineation. There is a violation of the honor code is a violation of the honor code. Does not matter. And this is, again, I'll go back to the Retzloff conversation. It doesn't matter if he had sex with her. He was alone in his apartment with a woman who he was not married to.
Can't do that,
Violation of the honor code. Right? Like the morality clause. I mean, as it should be. As it should be. You know, painkillers, alcohol, neither require you to drive. I wish the best for him, but it's all could have ended terribly. Yeah. Yeah. You know, if it is painkillers, does that violate BYU's honor code the way booze would? If he has a prescription, the legality of it does not change. And a lot of people I saw, this is the painkiller argument I was reading today on Twitter. It doesn't matter if it's prescription. He got a violation for suspicion of DUI. Whether he has a prescription or not. But he had a prescription doesn't matter. The issue is not in alcohol, obviously, I think he's 20 years old. So it would be, possession by consumption. Like, it doesn't matter. The issue is it's a DUI. Alcohol, shrooms, painkillers. It doesn't matter. It's a DUI, right? Like it just is what it is. Hope it was not a field sobriety test by cops. Those can be very unreliable. Well, let's hope he didn't talk to the cops. And I can only say this so many times. If you get pulled over, don't talk to the cops.
Yeah, listen, we're all just sitting here speculating, bro. Let's be very clear. None of these guys are in a situation where they have to drive anywhere. And I think people always forget this. Bro doesn't need to drive a car ever again if he didn't want to, right? If he didn't want to, he didn't need to drive anywhere. They have people who will drive you places. They have people who will do that for you, whether you're injured or whether you've had too many to drink, whether you're on pain meds. I don't really care. It doesn't matter. He's one phone call away from being taken care of. And that's the thing that I think people aren't remembering is that that's just what it is. Like, why are we trying to all be, professors on what the honor code says and what it doesn't say and what's a violation and what's not? The reality is the kid is out at night doing something he shouldn't be doing and being in a situation he shouldn't be in. And
it's interesting you bring that up because I'm getting a text from a source at BYU who's saying it's not even that it is an abuse of morality. It is an abuse of the public trust, which is part of the ethos of being an athlete of privilege at BYU. And I think that's just about as well as I could say it. That's exactly right. And I think Bronco Mendenhall talked about this a lot. When you are an athlete at BYU, you live in privilege. You are treated differently. You are viewed differently. You are given opportunities. And you need to respect that and you need to act accordingly. And he did not. And I think that is exactly the right way to put it. And ethos is a very interesting word to use because it talks about ethos, I believe, is belief, value, and I should look it up. Essentially the character of a human being, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it is not an accidental word. Ethos refers to the guiding belief, value, and character of a person, group, or culture. I think that's exactly the right phraseology of that. But
I just think I think that a lot of people want to try to find a way to wiggle out of the honor code or like that. You don't understand, dude. It's a way of life. It's not just like a rule book that you follow. It's not just like, oh yeah, it's a sign on the wall. No, it's like it's how you do business. It's a way of life for these guys while they're there. Like it's just not it's more serious than any casual, is willing to admit. Like when you go to BYU, you understand.
Damn.
What?
This person also texting me, I don't know if you're aware, there was a teammate in the car who is in just as much trouble as he is, because that teammate, whether he was in the same exact situation, should never have allowed this to happen. Neither one of them should have been in a car. Oh,
yeah. So this is what I'm saying is like it comes down to, and I feel like we do this with athletes, and I'm a big believer. I don't have kids, but I'm a big believer in this as like a parenting tactic too, to help your kid. Like it's not like the mistake you made necessarily. It's not like the one decision. It's the lack of identifying the fact that, hey, we're in a dangerous situation. And again, I'm not saying this is the specific situation, but just as an example, we're at this bar and we're having drinks. We're at this crossroads of how we want the rest of our evening to go. Are we unwilling to pay the $25 to Uber as a regular person, or are we unwilling to make a phone call if you're these guys? Like that's the problem. The problem isn't the once you're driving. It's that you didn't have the forethought to be like, yeah, well, we're going to the bar. Like, how are we getting home? That's the problem here. And that's what I think people don't want to talk about is it's not the pettiness of the accident. It's that you decided together now, apparently, that it was a good idea to get in a car. Like that's a problem.
And I think the point is he was in a car with a teammate, and allegedly Kennard Davis was driving, and he was at a point where he was arrested for suspicion of DUI. And I think there's a responsibility with the teammate. Boyd Lake, athletes live in a fishbowl, especially at BYU. They're superstars. There's a responsibility in that teammate to say, yeah, you know what, man? Let's get an Uber. Or I'm sober. You know what? I haven't had painkillers, or I haven't had whatever it is.
Nothing in my system.
And the hard part is, this is where accountability meets your actions. Right. And this is again, this thing where we're so focused on outcomes that we forgot to focus on the process. We're so focused on being famous star basketball players and making money in the NBA. We forgot to focus on the process of not getting in a car while we're intoxicated on whatever substance it was, allegedly. So, but ethos is a very I'm fascinated by that word. I am fascinated by that word. So, driver needed help, passenger maybe failed, because I'm not going to sit here and say, you can't tell me that Kennard Davis is walking around on one leg, like falling over. Maybe there was no indication. And again, this is why I tell you, we don't know all the facts. There was an accident. Cops were probably called to the scene. And I say probably, I'm not going to assume what we read was, but somebody ran a red light, hit Davis's car. And that's how we all got here. So it's not like he was swerving all over the road or went through a checkpoint, so we have no idea. And again, this is why I tell you, call the advocates. If you get in an accident, if somebody hits you, call the advocates, call an attorney. Do not talk to the police. Do not trust your insurance companies. Call an attorney. Because what is the attorney going to say? Well, the cops want me to make a mistake. Nah, bro. Nope. Don't talk to the cops, you guys. It just, Davis was hit by another car. He stayed behind with an assistant and treated for injuries. Yeah, it's a brutal situation. It is a brutal situation, and I just don't know. I don't know how this ends well, is all I'm saying. And I hope for his sake, he does have good representation and that he can fight that. I really do. I mean, I really hope that, I hope he's okay. I hope that mentally and physically he's okay. And I hope that this all works out for the best. That's what I hope. I don't know why my screen is flashing like that. It's so
been doing
annoying.
It all week for both of us. It's not a setup issue. It's a StreamYards issue, in my opinion.
Shocking. Weird thing, folks, is just now learning what ethos is. Most learning about it. Well, I know what ethos is. It's a great word, is what it is. The only reason I know about it is because when I was in high school, I had a baseball coach. I had a baseball coach named Bob Petty who used that word about the ethos of our program. So, yes, Uber or Lyft, taxi cab, but I imagine university has a program to help drive. You can, if you are I can tell you this about BYU. I know this for a certainty. If you are an athlete and you are in a position, you simply pick up the phone. There's no question. I'm with you guys. Hope he overcomes this, and let's wait for details and go from there. We're guessing, and I just don't think you can. But it is what it is. Was this on the way to the team flight to Boston? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. That's not Monty's system flashing. It's a glitch in the matrix. I think it is. I think it's Joey Smith trying to break in to give me information and help me improve my ethos.
Yeah, apparently.
StreamYard just has a monopoly on the game now, so they can do what they want, dude. It's so frustrating, Smitty.
Oh, it's the issues with StreamYard streaming software is so frustrating to the point where I've looked at other options, and unfortunately, StreamYard's ease of use is unmatched in the market.
It really is
for what we do.
Really, really is. Okay, well, there you go. There endeth the lesson. And my guy at BYU said this was indeed on the way to the team flight. Whether you want to say that or not is up to you. The fact of the matter is nobody really knows who shouldn't know. And I appreciate that you guys are not just aimlessly making guesses about his condition or the condition of the passenger. But the point is, he should have never put himself in this position.
Yeah.
Should have never put himself in this position. I agree. That happened a few hours before the flight to Boston. High school English comp classes teach ethos. You know what, dudes? This is going to sound so stupidly simplistic. I miss the simplicity of life. Remember how complicated we all thought things were in high school?
Yeah.
I miss that complication.
Yeah, you mean that time before we knew what the IRS was?
Ugh. It's so funny that we never quite appreciate anything in life until we're past it. We don't appreciate how simple our lives were. We were all pissed off we couldn't stay up past 10 o'clock and when we were 10 years old. Now we can't wait to go to bed most nights. Right? And we want to sleep later now. But now you realize, well, the day goes by like that. Let me get my ass out of bed. Right? Like it's crazy to me how many of the simplest things we just, Dana's here. James must be in the rectory. Exactly.
Oh God, here we go.
Stadium gal Dana. I use the advocates to help me out when I crash my boyfriend's car. Okay. Is what it is. Dana, I read that one. Are the caffeine-free Pepsi or Coca-Colas? There you go. I ruined Jake's day today. There's all this stuff coming out about what's inside of a Monster can, and I just don't want to talk about it. I don't want to. I'd rather talk about Monkey Man in Charted in the Web. Do you know how many people yesterday reacted to the and I appreciate everybody who buys my stuff on Amazon. And do you know how many people were like, okay, well, listen, bro, if I leave you a review, can I curse in the review? No, it'll get filtered. Okay, well, what if we talk about Jake's vest in the review? Knock yourself out. But it's probably going to get filtered because I don't sell vests. I mean, Fat Jesus broke. And if you guys missed it, I don't know if we still have the picture.
We do.
This is the review of one of my products that Fat Jesus left. He wanted so badly to be a legend on this show. He bought one of my products. and left a review. And look how many show references there are in this. This is a real review. Look how many show references there are to James in this review.
Yeah, this might be one of the most complete and incredible efforts that we've seen on the Showgram to this point.
It is incredible. No, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. I just really, this is legendary.
Like all the references, like the fact that anybody who doesn't listen to the show would have no idea that this is what this review is about is incredible.
He loves to roll each truck out and chart its distance to see which one rolled the furthest. I mean,
like,
that
that's
is
incredible, bro.
Can you measure it?
It's goated. The Monty Show, presented by the Advocates at theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business, 24/7, 365, wherever you need them, whenever you need them, however you need them. Phone call, in person, video call. You need the advocates, they're ready to serve you. You're not talking to an AI chatbot. You're talking to a live injury attorney, 24/7, 365. And the best part is you never reach in your pocket to pay the advocates. No, friends. You don't pay the advocates unless and until they win your case. Massive weekend in college football. Let's get to some news before we get into the games. I was talking to a source this morning about trying to get some intel, try to get ahead on some of the coaching openings. And as Jake tries to wake up from his nap,
can't help yourself.
He hates
can't help yourself.
Hey, fat ass, can you just let me yawn for 5 minutes? Louisville coach Jeff Brom is close to a long-term extension, according to sources. So this would take another big name candidate off the market for just about every job. And it does beg the question, when you look at guys like Kirk Cignetti, Matt Rule, Rhett Lashley, they're all off the market conceivably, right? Because Cignetti and Rule and Lashley have all announced long-term extensions at Nebraska, Indiana, Dallas County. And now Jeff Brom is, according to sources, close to an extension at Louisville. Jake, does college football have a lack of quality coaching candidates right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is that guys are reticent to change jobs too quickly, and I think with everything that's gone down at LSU, that's not really helping things. You have these, you have all these buyout situations taking place, and schools trying to not pay their end of the bargain on the buyout. Why would anyone leave a good situation or a situation where they're already established? I like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, this is the same kind of thought process and situation is like, buying a house or anything like that. Like if you got it good, if your interest rate's good, why are you leaving? Right? Like if these guys don't have to take risk, why would they leave? And so I don't personally believe that there's a shortage of talent. I just think that 90% of it's spoken for already. I mean, the reality is it's a very high stress, demanding, specific type of job. And there's not a million of those guys out there. And so the reality is both sides of the line don't get to have it both ways. If you want massive buyouts and you want that level of commitment from schools, then you got to be really good at what you do, but at the same time, if you're the school and and you want to have a bunch of this talent out there, you got to be willing to pay that much. And I just think that you got to be willing to pay the buyout. You got to be willing to invest in the program. You got to be willing to go out and get talent. And I don't know, man. I think the Matt Rules of the world know that they have it good at Nebraska, meaning that Nebraska, while they can sit here and talk about their desire to win national championships, the reality is the goal is to get to the CFP. That's the goal. If he gets to the CFP with regularity, he'll be there for 25 years, whether he wins natties or not, in my opinion. I honestly, I think that that's for most schools.
And I'm not trying to be a jerk about this at all. And I think there's guys who want it and guys who don't. You look at Kalen DeBoer leaving Washington to go to Bama. He wants it. He's a fireman. He wants the fire, man. He wants the heat.
And his hoodie.
and his hoodie. That was good, Jake. He wants the hoodie. But I think a guy like Kirk Cignetti, he's not it's ill-timed. A guy like Matt Rule, I think Matt Rule is well aware that he is not in a great position. And I think Matt Rule realizes that he needs to win right now at Nebraska. I think a guy like Rhett Lashley, he's got unfinished business in Dallas. Jeff Brom, I don't think if Jeff Brom signs an extension at Louisville, you're telling me you don't want to win a national championship. With all due respect to Louisville, you're not winning national championships at Louisville. You're not. There's a reason that you don't put a team in the college football playoff, frankly, ever.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason for that. Does that mean Jeff Brom's a shitty coach? No. He's not a fireman, though. He doesn't want the heat. And I think when you start looking at some of these jobs, there's a lot of heat on Penn State. There's a lot of heat on Florida. Hell of a lot of heat on LSU. How much heat do you think there's going to be in Tallahassee for Florida State? It's going to be a lot of heat. And truly, what this does when you have a lack of big name quality candidates to fill big name quality jobs, look at the domino effect. I'm certain you've thought about this, bud. Lane Kiffin takes a Florida job. Somebody's going to take somebody's going to take the Ole Miss job then, which means another school is going to have an opening, which means another guy's going to take that job. And the domino effect is just incredible.
So the question with the domino effect ultimately becomes, which school do you want to be? Do you want to be the school at the end of the domino, right? Or you want to be the last domino that gets affected? You know, hey, like, you know, we're at the tail.
You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. Look at, and I think the best example that I heard was who really got affected when Kalen DeBoer left Washington to go to Bama. It wasn't Arizona. Arizona can hire a football coach. It wasn't Washington. Washington can hire a football coach. No, it was San Jose State. Because you look at the status of that program, and you begin to understand that when you lose a guy like Brent Brennan, that's a tough thing to replace. Those are the schools that are going to start to feel the pain. Because if we look at the most viable, the most likely candidates, and if in fact jobs like Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt, you look at the jobs where it's not Notre Dame, like all this heat around Marcus Freeman leaving Notre Dame. First of all, bud, let me know, because I'll show up and hold the door, and I'll pack your shit and hand you the box. Let me know. But if you start looking at some of the names, if Arkansas does not hire James Franklin, the domino effect that job, and that's not LSU, that's not Florida, that's not Ole Miss, it's Arkansas. The domino effect that the Arkansas job will create if they don't hire out of work James Franklin, I mean, it's incredible, right? Because you fired Sam Pittman. You're not hiring Bobby Petrino. So now we start looking at who are the names that have been linked to the Arkansas job. Well, John Gruden, but most people think all three of these, and really it's 4 SEC jobs now that are open. They all are chasing established coaches. Right? So it's probably not Gruden. Arkansas made a massive push to get Rhett Lashley contract extension. And so now it seems like James Franklin is being courted by Vodtech in Arkansas. Well, let's say that James Franklin takes the Arkansas job. Well, now what's going to happen at Va Tech. Is Shane Beamer going to leave South Carolina to go to Va Tech? Probably.
No.
Oh, I think he would. To
Why?
resurrect because of his old man.
Yeah, but
The ties in the lineage to Va Tech, I think, and I think he knows he's going to lose Lenore Sellers to the portal. I think the domino effect of that job, and if we connect the dots and shit, like if John Summerall is going to Auburn, which makes a lot of sense to me, but let's say Alex Golish takes a job. USF's not a high-profile gig. Is that a job that a Riley or a Stein or a big name offensive coordinator is going to go take the USF job? I don't think so. But who knows? Are you telling me that, like Eric Morris, Ryan Silverfield, those are guys who I could see going to USF, but are you going to leave Memphis to go to USF? Probably not. Are you going to leave North Texas to go to USF? Probably.
yeah, I mean, I think what the coaching cycle needs is some of these prolific OCs and DCs to move up to the head coaching rank. That's what it needs. And I don't know if Will Stein has the motivation to leave. I assume Garrett Riley does. I assume, just with the drama around Dabo and the uncertainty there, I assume he's looking. But I think that, as unfortunate as it is, I just think the G6 is not really the concern of the Power Four. I think that the Power Four, the Power Four is going to do what the Power Four does, and the G6 just needs to deal with it. And that's the unfortunate climate that we're in, but it just is what it is. And I think that, you also have other names lingering around that are not as attractive and should never be head coaches right out of the gate again. But, all the smoke around Gruden potentially getting an opportunity, Edo trying to get back in the game. Not that I'd ever hire him, but he's, trying, like,
Sure.
I just think that there's guys that are out there on the fringe that are like last resort type hires as a head coach that, are also of consideration for certain jobs. So I think that the what we should be saying is ultimately Lane Kiffin's in control of a massive amount of power in college football right now that extends beyond Ole Miss. And the SEC would be wise to ensure that he stays in the conference. And not that there's another open job. I mean, I don't think that he's at all interested in the Knuckle Deep Boys or anything else the Big Ten has to offer. I certainly don't think he'd go to the ACC. He's an SEC guy through and through. But you can just kind of imagine, again, not that it's set up this cycle, but you could imagine the power and the storyline it would be if a major name went to the Big Ten out of the SEC. And those are the things that I think as sports fans, we're not lucky enough to really have that environment right now. But I'm telling you, at some point that's going to happen.
Yeah,
the conference switch will happen.
I'm really interested to see where we end up and how all this plays out, because I think that it is really tough if you I just don't know. I think Bob Chesney's a very interesting name, but can Bob Chesney hire a staff and recruit a John Mateer or a Devin Dampier, right? That caliber of player to plug in at an Arkansas at a bigger job. I don't know. Is Willie Fritz a guy that's going to go take a different job that people in Houston tell you he's not? Right? Like, I mean,
What else would they say?
True. But I look at any of these SEC jobs is, Jerry Mack at Kennesaw State's getting a lot of run right now. If you're Auburn, are you hiring Jerry Mack? Are you hiring? You're probably not.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, not everybody's got the bread or the want to hire big names. I mean, that's the reality of this conversation is that, yeah, I agree with you. Like, yeah, probably not, but somebody's going to, because the reality is, I mean, if we've learned anything And this coaching carousel cycle, bad management at universities is on full display.
It is.
So again, I would rather be first than last in this conversation. If I'm a university right now, I am on the hunt and I've got the checkbook out. I'm going after somebody. I'm saying, okay, cool. Here's all the available names. Here's who we are. We already know, like, if you're Florida, your number one is Lane Kiffin, but who's 2 and 3, just in case, odds are you're going to get them, but just in case, and, you've got, I think it was Thamel today, might've been Ross, but I think it was Thamel putting out articles about how Lane is saying that, oh, he's got it great at Ole Miss. And, is this the last chapter in his coaching career? I don't believe that for a second. Why would you ever ask him that question? I have no idea. But the idea that the answer is maybe instead of no is interesting. So, I don't know, man. What I do know is that programs like Florida aren't peddling in G6 names. They're going after the big dogs. So the only question is who's going to win the cycle? Who's going to, other than Lane Kiffin, land a big name OC to come in and do the damn thing?
Yeah, I think there's going to be some really tough realities laid down. And I think that these 4 jobs in the SEC, the Penn State job, that's just the beginning. And I think the G5 is the one that's going to pay the price here ultimately. Because I don't know how you fix any of this. Right. I really don't. And if that Florida State job opens up, it's going to cause chaos. It is going to cause chaos. It's the only way that I can say it. And listen, if all this shit on Brian Kelly that's coming out is any indication, have you guys heard all this stuff about Brian Kelly at LSU? That Brian Kelly allegedly is in meetings and his coordinators, his recruiting staff would walk up to him with a phone and be like, hey, this is Timmy O'Bigcock, the kid from New Orleans, this number 1 rated quarterback. Can you get on the phone with him here real quick? Yeah, have Jimmy, the quarterback coach, schedule some time with him. Brian Kelly allegedly would not get on the phone with recruits and could not, like the infamous story is that Lane Kiffin was able to get Jackson Dart because Lane Kiffin was able to shoot the shit about Fortnite with Jackson Dart. That's what closed Dart and Trigg to Ole Miss. Is that Lane Kiffin, because Jackson Dart was going to go back to BYU or go to Ole Miss because he should have always gone to BYU. But the story is that Jackson Dart chose Lane Kiffin because he felt like he really related to Lane Kiffin, and Lane Kiffin knew. And whether Lane went out of his way to know this, or I'm guessing his staff pulled a profile on Jackson Dart, was like, oh, look, he plays Fortnite every single day. And this is what is, because again, this is probably not a revelation to anybody. College recruiters get on these gaming platforms and play games anonymously with kids so they know what they talk like, what they look like, what their game characters look like, how they treat other people. So when Jackson Dart showed up at Ole Miss for his visit, and it actually wasn't, I want to correct that, it wasn't at Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin flew out to see Jackson Dart. He didn't start talking to him about offenses or stuff. He started talking to him about Fortnite and his life. And, hey, what do you do for fun? What's your thing? Like, hey, what's it? And he did it allegedly knowing he would bring up Fortnite, and Lane was ready to talk Fortnite. I think that it's brilliant. And Brian Kelly won't even get on the phone with a recruit, allegedly. And he has his position coaches put it on their calendars. And we start to wonder why Brian Kelly allegedly didn't relate to people well and didn't have relationships well. And it's remarkable to me that the stories coming out of Baton Rouge, and whether they're true or not, or any of that, the idea that Lane Kiffin closed Jackson Dart through relatability is exactly what this game needs. It's exactly what this game needs. It doesn't need coaches. It's why Dion is such an incredible recruiter, because he knows you. He knows you long before you know him. He knows you.
Yep.
And I just wonder how many of these guys are able to do that, because I can tell you Lincoln Riley, I know for a fact, does that. I know for a fact, obviously Lane Kiffin does that. I know for a fact Nick Saban used to do that. And actually not Nick Saban, Nick Saban's wife. One of the ways that Nick Saban's wife was so able to be a mother figure to most of her players is because she had information about their personal lives so she could relate to them. And maybe I'm just blown away by it, but it's what made Brian Kelly such a good candidate at LSU. He was an amazing recruiter at Notre Dame. Like for us, when Brian Kelly was at Notre Dame, that dude brought in, and I'll tell you this, Marcus is an incredible recruiter. And the word is that it's not really even Marcus. The money that Notre Dame, and I think a lot of staffs are doing this, the money that Notre Dame is putting into the infrastructure of recruiting is paying dividends on a massive level. On a massive level. And I have to think that you really have to find ways now to emotionally connect with these kids, especially in the portal, because it's not the money anymore. Everybody's got the money. You're either going to pay the kid or he's not coming there. But when you have three people, let's say a kid's price tag's $1 million as a round figure. When you got three people lined up with a bag of money that's got $1 million in it, you better be able to talk Fortnite.
Mm-hmm.
You better be able to talk Jays or chains or ice or hoodies or vests, right? Like, you better be able to do that. And I think it's, the other guy that's incredible at it, and Jake and I have firsthand experience with this, Pete Kwiatkowski at Texas. I can tell you right now that Pete Kwiatkowski's wife plays a huge role in his football life. And the way that the way I can tell you when they were at Washington, Pete Kwiatkowski used to have the players all come to his house. All of his players would come to his house, have dinners, forget football. Have dinners, hang out, swim in the pool, and that's why Texas is such a behemoth, because they recruit really well.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't mean to ramble on about it, but BK, I don't know what happened to Brian Kelly at LSU, you guys. I think it's one of the most fascinating stories of a guy, and it's probably too strong, but a guy who just lost himself.
Or didn't want to be there anymore.
Or never wanted to be there in the first place. I don't know, but it feels like Brian Kelly went down to family and then just never came back.
Yeah, dude.
Like lost himself altogether. Family. And I think you look at these programs across the country, it's what Michigan's dealing with right now. Michigan's not a great recruiting school right now. But you look at Ohio State, that entire university recruits football players. And I'll tell you, Brian Hartline's a guy, because there's a lot of belief Matt Campbell's going to leave Iowa State. If you're an Ohio State fan, I wouldn't be worried about Penn State. I'd be worried about Iowa State.
Ohio State?
Because if Matt Campbell leaves Iowa State, they're going to go get Brian Hartline or try. Is Ames a big enough job? Who knows?
Yeah, who knows, bro? Who knows?
I'll tell you, Brian Hartline's an incredible recruiter. I mean, really good recruiter. So, does Coach Prime know to recruit kids in high school to school? What do you mean? He's a phenomenal recruiter. His entire staff. And a lot of their stuff truly is the lifestyle challenges that players deal with, because they've all been players. So, Miss Terry, who is Nick Saban's wife, always struck me as a mom's mom, and Saban just happened to hit the spouse lottery there. She is.
Facts.
But that's what being a coach's wife is about. You're not somebody in most cases who is working full time. You're either raising your family but a big part of your job is facilitating the minutia of being a football coach.
Family.
So you're the one that's cutting up the oranges and packing the Capri Suns, as an analogy.
Roll Tide!
It's playing time more than money. And that's true because everybody's paying these kids money. Everybody's got $1 million. Are you going to let me start no matter what? How did Bryce wind up at Michigan? Because they told him you're going to start no matter what. Right? D-Rock, BK did not recruit in his last 5 years at Notre Dame. The stories were amazing on what he was doing, but he had recruiters. And I was reading about the money that Notre Dame, one of the frustrations Brian Kelly had is he felt like Notre Dame wasn't spending the money required. And the divide between Brian Kelly and Notre Dame is
legendary.
But you look at the money that they are spending on infrastructure to support Notre Dame football right now. It's impressive, dude. I mean, it is. There's less grape juice for the, for the confessional, but last coupe 73. That's probably not how you say that. Brian Hartline is better at it. Brian Hartline's an incredible recruiter. I mean, an incredible recruiter. So, but LSU has some rich donors who want to tell their coaches how to do their job. No, I think that's completely wrong. I think Brian Kelly.
What do you have? Another sideline reporter telling you this, dude? Like, what do you mean?
The stories it's no longer in the shadows. It's all out. Brian Kelly did not want to interact with people on a regular basis. He put layers, and I'm not talking about boosters, because the bigger problems at LSU were Brian Kelly didn't want to talk to his players. Brian Kelly allegedly didn't spend time with his players. Brian Kelly didn't have them to his home. He didn't treat them like sons. Who are the best recruiters at any university? Your current players are always your best recruiters. And that was not the case. And I think that one of the reasons that Brian Kelly didn't even fight his termination, one, because he knew he was getting paid. I think Brian Kelly figured out very quickly how small the Notre Dame community is when he got fired at LSU. Because, and this is not, I think a lot of coaches, ask Charlie Weiss about this. The truth is the Notre Dame job is a massive job. But when you go home at Notre Dame every night, you're alone. You go home, you're good. Usually your phone doesn't ring. You're fine. Brian Kelly was able to go, whatever Brian Kelly does, he was able to go close the door on his den, smoke a stogie, put his feet up on his leather recliner and chair, and just be whatever it is he wants to be. It doesn't work like that at LSU. It doesn't work like that. Notre Dame is this really unique job that it's a massive job. But you also get to get away from it. And in a lot of college football circles, you don't get to get away with it. Because there's a lot of guys, and I can tell you, Nick Saban's famous for this. Nick Saban had come home from work, and his players would be at his house. And did he ever get pissed off about it? No. Was he ever, why is Rodney here again? No. Because Nick Saban understands a lot of these kids want to feel like they're home. And a lot of these kids have never felt at home. So when a coach says, hey, my door is always open, Nick Saban actually meant it. Brian Kelly never meant it. Brian Kelly didn't want to show up at home and have players on his stoop. Brian Kelly didn't want to show up at home and have kids in the backyard playing badminton or volleyball, right? Like that's the biggest difference.
Yes.
So, and I think this is probably more accurate with all due respect to James. LSU has a bunch of boosters that expect a coach to do his damn job. That's exactly right. And Brian Kelly wasn't doing his job. The funny thing about the LSU job is it quite literally is a crawfish bake every night. It is about, dude, today was a long day. Give me a glass with some ice in it and a libation, and let's suck the brains out of some crawfish and wine and cry about the day. Right? Throw a pot on the fire and let's sit back some bourbon. That is what that life should be, and it is, unless you're Brian Kelly. And then you want oak and mahogany and leather chairs with ottomans and...
This is Louisiana, not Alabama.
Right? Like, many of these kids need a football coach, but they also need a life coach or at least someone there to help them and believe in them in non-football areas. It's what Deion Sanders is crazy. Steve Sarkisian's really good at that. There's more than one story that floats around about Steve Sarkisian putting his arm around a kid that's crying about this or that. And I think you need that sometimes, but you also need them to the Kirby Smart thing, where Kirby Smart is your best friend and your worst enemy. And Warren Sapp, I heard a great Warren Sapp story the other day. You don't want to come to practice if you didn't go to class, because Warren Sapp is going to absolutely make your life hell. Because you guys don't care about this either. They get a class report every single day. And hey, here are all your players. Here's how many classes. Here's where they would. And I guess Warren Sapp is absolutely a go to school Nazi. Like, if you don't go to school, Warren Sapp is not your friend. And I think, and why is Warren Sapp like that? Because Warren Sapp never went to class. And then what happened when he was done playing? He had a lot of problems. He wasn't worldly. He wasn't ready. And so it's just crazy. Anyway, K. Smitty, these guys talked about BK in depth a few days ago, Johnny Gonzalez. They made the situation more understandable. Wait, what did you? Brian Kelly should fight this thing so far that his name ends up on LSU Stadium. It sucks what LSU is trying to do to him. It truly sucks.
Yep.
I understand that he was an awkward fit and it ended terribly, but you wrote a contract. Now go pay it.
None of the he didn't do a good enough job stuff matters. Contract's a contract. Pay, buddy.
That's the way it should be. Talk to hello. Sorry, it's English. I don't speak it. Talk to former Notre Dame quarterback Malik Zaire about Brian Kelly. Only one of his several players who could tell you some doozies about him off and on the field. I just think Brian's not that nice guy that a lot of people want. Some coaches know that some players need a disciplinarian to yell at them and keep them in line, but there's also some players that need a softer hand. Yeah, I think that's very true. Joey said, thank you, Monty. The Slavic Taxi Driver Union loves you. You're welcome. Jeremiah Champion, I invoked your name on the show yesterday and you didn't show up. I was very disappointed. I can't remember why I called you out for that. James, don't make me put you in word timeout today.
Afghanistan.
Mike is spot on. You have to be positive and encouraging. No, you don't. You have to be real.
I will chain you to a pipe.
You have to be real. Yeah, how about that story? Dude, this hurts my head so much. I only talked to him one time, and he's just such a down-to-earth guy. John Beam, the last chance you coach, was murdered in Oakland. Shot, I think, Wednesday and died today. Oh, sucks. It just sucks. All right. Jake, who do you think Lane Kiffin leaves Old Miss? Because I think it's an incredibly important decision for him and for college football.
Yeah, I think he takes the Florida job. I think that is a end your career kind of job. Old Miss can't be the last stop on the Lane Kiffin tour.
I think
And
that's exactly right.
I think that, what he's done at Ole Miss is nothing short of sensational, and I think he deserves a ton of credit. But if you want to be an icon, if you want to be a true legend, you got to get to a nameplate like Florida, Bama. I would even contend that Georgia is not got the same aura as Bama, Florida,
Ooh.
Ohio State. I think there are
What do you mean by that?
well, I just think that Alabama is in a position now where that will forever be an iconic job because of what Nick Saban did there. Before Nick Saban, Alabama wasn't anything, and now it's everything. And I think that there are very few jobs like that where if you go there and you go on a 10-year run, a 15-year run, you can retire after that, and you're forever a college football coach legend. And Lane's not there yet. Lane hasn't won anything yet. Lane has simply done a great job at Ole Miss building that program, and he deserves a ton of credit for that. But there's a difference, and that's his choice. Do I want to be known as a guy that builds programs and is competitive, or do I want to be known as the guy that's got 4 or 5 natties and did it in the SEC? Because that's elite company, dude.
I think the hardest part is you can only leave Ole Miss. This is just my opinion. You can only leave Ole Miss if you've done what Lane Kiffin's done, and you go to the playoff. If he goes to the playoff, he cannot stay at Ole Miss because you're never going to put Ole Miss in a better position than he's got Ole Miss in now. Your resume only goes down from here, especially if you make the playoff.
Okay, well, where are they? Let's put the graphic on the screen. Where are they at? What are the odds? I mean, you're
in a really good spot.
I mean,
right?
let's see. Where are we? We are right here. You're 7th right now in the CFP rankings.
And you're pretty much a lock at this point.
Yeah, you'd really have to screw it up at this point. I mean, you are, basically anything inside the top 10 is pretty much a lock unless you screw it up.
You're not losing to Florida. You're an 11.5 point favorite at home. You're in Oxford. You're not losing at Vaught Hemingway to Florida. No. That's not happening. Right? No. I mean, I'm really I think here's my question. If DJ Lagway is worth any kind of salt, he leaves Florida if Lane Kiffin shows up. Because I think Trinidad Chambliss has shown you that Lane can get in the portal and turn a guy into a stud.
Yep.
The domino effect, and I don't mean to be redundant. I know I just said this a minute ago. The domino effect of Lane Kiffin taking the Florida job will be cataclysmic. I think the transfer portal, the coaching stuff, the small schools, the big schools, the assistant coaches, the infrastructure guys, I think it's everything from the GM, the operations director, I think the athletic director. I think it is an absolutely massive move for Lane Kiffin to lead, because I also don't think you can go take the LSU job.
No, I think it's below you now. It's below you now.
I think it's a step down. And when I'm fighting a body shaking sneeze right now. When you are Lane Kiffin and you can take a job at a place where you're going to have one of the best football stadiums in the country after the Swamp is renovated, and a great fan base, access to talent at every position, the ability to win a national championship, you cannot say no to that because you have none of that at Ole Miss. And I know he's comfortable, and I agree it's a good spot for him. He has none of that.
I think we're just all assuming he's comfortable, bro. I mean, it's cushy, yes, but what? See, again, this is what I'm saying. Everyone wants to make it about comparing the programs. There's no comparison. The opportunity is very clear at Florida, but this isn't necessarily just about Florida. I'm telling you, this is about who Lane Kiffin is as a guy. This is about, hey, like, what do I want my legend to be, if you will? What do I want? What do I want to be remembered for, man? What kind of impact do I want to have on this
Your
conference?
legacy.
And
We're talking
your
about your
legacy.
legacy.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume, based on his path, what he's had to overcome personally, and now what he has overcome professionally, to get to this point, I would assume that the guy wants to win at the highest level every single year. And if you want to do that, especially as a guy off the saving tree, you need to get to a place that allows you to do that, because there are very few programs that have the top end.
Nick Saban's a better man than Lane Kiffin is. Okay,
right now he is. Yeah.
Now, I want Jake to play that drop.
Nick Saban is a better man than you are.
Yeah, I think it is going to be really difficult for Lane Kiffin to stay in Oxford. And if he doesn't take that job, I think if he doesn't take the Florida job, I don't know who Florida goes with. I don't know. He is the only guy that should take that job.
Mm-hmm.
He is. If Lane doesn't take that job, I really think Lincoln Riley's in play. Honest to goodness, I think Lincoln Riley knows he's on the clock at SC. He is dealing with the challenges that SC presents and dealing with them well. And it's funny, talking to people around college football, nobody looks down on Lane on Lincoln like he's failed at SC. Because I agree, he walked into an empty cupboard at SC. I totally agree with that. And he has turned that thing around. And I think they are significantly better on defense. Somebody pointed that out to me today. And I went and looked. They are significantly better on defense. Now, he also hired an incredible staff, and he's recruited his little butt off.
Why are we moving the goalpost on this, dude?
On what?
On Lincoln Riley. He went to USC
mm-hmm.
to further, his career, and because the Oklahoma thing just wasn't working out. So you go to USC, a program that's got all these resources and all these, great things, obviously, as we all know. And it's not about whether your defense is better. It's about winning and losing if you're at SC. That's the thing. Like, I'm not trying to be harsh, but I just feel like that's kind of an excuse to be like, well, his defense is better. Yeah, but where's the record at, dude? You've got money. You've got, like, I understand there's baggage and red tape and things you got to deal with in LA in that. I get that. I understand that. But at some point, he has to get over the hump, bro. At some point.
Did he do a bad? Has he not done that?
No, he has not done that. He hasn't been to the CFP.
Well, what is it? Right, but he's building the guy's 33-16 at USC. I mean, he to me, I think that when you look at Lincoln Riley, I think we all forget he's been to what is this, his 4th season at USC? I think this is his 4th season at USC, and he's been to a bowl game every year. Not great bowl games, but yeah, he's 33-16, 22-11 in conference at USC. It's not like they've been bad, right? It's not like they've been bad. He was 11-3 in his first year. Last year was a disaster, but he's 7-2. He's 5-1 in the Big Ten right now. I think, but you've always felt like this. I think you, and I'm not even arguing with you, but I think that Lincoln Riley's been more successful than you believe. And I think that, it's really tough to, if he goes to
Florida, let me ask you this. If he goes to Florida, what's good enough and what's not good enough at Florida? If it's Lincoln Riley.
Florida, you have to win an SEC championship. Florida, you have to win an SEC championship.
Okay. So what is it at USC then, if it's not that?
I think USC, he needs to, I would say this year and next year, he's doing what you have to do. He's competing for a Big Ten championship right now.
And I would agree with that. Yeah.
I think that's what you have to do. It's a tough. I mean, what is he, third in the Big Ten behind Indiana and Ohio State right now? He's got a game up on Chaboy at Oregon, Dan Lanning at Oregon, but they play in 2 weeks now, I guess. So that's going to get hashed out. I mean, I think.
What do you mean he's got a game? I think they're tied. They're both 5-1 in conference.
Yeah, but I think the tiebreaker goes to SC based on. I could be wrong. Who cares? They're going to play each other. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
My point is, they're both 5-1. Dan Lanning's 8-1. Lincoln Riley, they've lost 2 games, so they're 7-2.
Yeah.
Because Lincoln lost to the Beloved, and what was the other game they lost?
Illinois.
Fucking Illinois. In that wild game in Champaign.
And again, not to be negative, but are we not concerned about them losing to Iowa after what we saw from Iowa against Oregon?
Well, not in Los Angeles. I think if that game was in rainy and cold Iowa City, I'd be like, well, Lincoln's got it tough. But what happens when Lincoln Riley's USC Trojans have to travel? They lose games. When they have to travel across the country, they lose games. When you got to go to him, I look at Penn State last year and what was an incredible game. Those are the games you're getting. And I would remind you, he's doing pretty well at the Coliseum this year.
Yeah.
So, because that loss to Illinois, I'm pretty sure was in Champaign, and of course he lost at the stadium in Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So this team is better, but why is Lincoln Riley's? What are his 2 best years at USC? Year number 1, who was his quarterback? Caleb Williams, who walked off with a Heisman Trophy. Year number 2, worse, no defense. Last year, didn't really have a quarterback. This year, he's got one of the best quarterbacks in college football. Probably the second best quarterback in the Big Ten right now.
Yeah,
arguably.
No, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. Yeah,
I would probably Mayava and Sayin are pretty close. Fernando's probably number 1. He's got a top 3 quarterback in the Big Ten.
I will say though, that weather report for LA is not looking too kind,
which does not help Iowa. Does not help Iowa. So I think it here nor there. He needs to continue this. I will say, and I've talked about this ad nauseum. I know a ton of SC boosters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and you know this. I know a ton of USC
What's
boosters.
the sentiment? Where are they at on it?
They're thrilled with it. He's in a much better spot. They want him to beat Notre Dame. And I think every USC booster wants to renew Notre Dame, but I understand why that's a tough ask, because most USC people view Notre Dame as an unnecessary loss every year. But isn't that why you
be a loss? That's the point, dude. Like, what do you mean it's an unnecessary loss?
But it's always a fucking loss for them. It doesn't matter who the coach is. But my point is when you look at Lincoln Riley, he's got the best recruiting class for the next 2 years. King Miller is nothing short of a revelation. Right? I think we all can agree with that. He's one of the shocking studs of college football this year.
Mm-hmm.
And Jaden Mayava, with King Miller behind him, is an unbelievable backfield. And their defense is performing better. So, and again, they have 2 of the top recruiting classes in the history of USC football the next 2 years, which is saying something. So, USC is running from Notre Dame. It makes sense.
Let's not get dramatic, dude.
I don't think they're running from Notre Dame, but I'm sure most of you know this, but USC and Notre Dame are up for renewal. And a lot of USC folks don't want to renew it because it's a game, frankly, that's just too dangerous. Now, it's not a conference game, so win your conference college football playoff. But the problem is, if you lose the Notre Dame game, and you're going to lose it a lot, because Notre Dame's always really good, it seems like. It's just an unnecessary risk to take. And we'll see. But when you have the dynamic, a guy like Jaden Mayava is a true dual threat. And the guy is diming out. And he doesn't have to take the hits this year because King Miller's such a stud. Lincoln Riley's doing a better job than assholes like Jake give him credit for.
Dude, I'm not willing to do is it a better job? It's USC. You're in the Big Ten. Stop making excuses.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Okay, if he leaves SC for Auburn, you're a coward.
Agreed.
If you leave SC for LSU or Florida, hard to call the guy a coward.
I think the LSU thing would be, I mean, the LSU job, just from a football standpoint, is obviously a big-time job, but I honestly don't know what the reaction would be.
I'd rather have Gavin Newsom as my governor if I'm Lincoln Riley.
Well, that's my point. What would be the narrative? What would be the narrative about Lincoln Riley if he left for LSU with where all that's at right now? I mean, he's not that stupid.
Listen, you want to know what I think is going to happen? I don't think he's leaving SC.
No.
If Lincoln Riley left USC to go to LSU, nobody would question it. It's a huge job. It's a huge job. Marcus would like to talk to you about. I'm not going to read it.
No, go ahead. Let him impart his wisdom. What excuses do you want to make for Lincoln Riley?
I'll read you the last line. Good thing Jake's got on that life preserver because he's drowning in this argument.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
You're not. You're not at all. But it's a funny.
No, but I get that it's like tongue in cheek, but honestly, I don't. I'm not willing to do. Oh yeah, he's going to bowl games and it's great, dude. Bowl games have never been the measuring stick on this show.
No.
Like, let's stop moving the finish line, dude. The measuring stick, especially at SC, is the CFP. I'm not even saying natties. I'm not saying just go to the CFP. That's all you got to do.
You are on point because a college football executive is texting me as well. I hate this goddamn show. I stopped by 2 weeks ago to hear your assessment of BYU and Texas Tech, and I haven't missed a show since. And I love the vest.
Yeah, dude, I'm consistent. I'm much like Lincoln Riley, bro. I'm consistent. You know what I mean?
It is so humbling. And you guys, I think, probably think I'm full of shit or whatever. It is so humbling when you figure out who listens to this show and the highfalutin. This is somebody who runs a major college organization who came by on BYU and Texas Tech 2 weeks ago.
We got a lot of that on that game. That game put out a lot of those type of people for us.
And it's really humbling when people like Marcus is a guy who I've known and we've chatted back and forth, but he's really he's gotten into, and his name's not Marcus, by the way, but he's gotten into the show, and he's a guy who lives. He doesn't live he doesn't even live anywhere. Like, he lives in the southeast quadrant of the country. And we don't really talk a lot of SEC football on this show. Our main stuff is general college football in a grand scheme. But it's fun that fun and important people who are decision makers come in here and they watch the show every day now. And they comment on Jake's vest because you guys comment on Jake's vest.
Victory has already been won.
Yes, Mike. I saw some of the Twitter action on Aaron Glenn stealing Jake's vest.
Bro, we haven't had time.
Fantastic.
Bro, we haven't had time to talk about Aaron Glenn, but I don't know what he's doing with the media, bro. And it's not a topic on the program today, but his attitude, I'm not sure if dude's trying to get fired or what, but that's pretty brutal, bro.
I don't think he's safe at all. The Jets, not that I want to get into Justin Fields, but he's been the drop in that snap last night cost them the game. They were in the game. Did you guys see the highlight? I don't know if you watched Thursday Night Football or not, but the snap was not a good snap. And the Jets, let's be honest, for the last 3 weeks have not been able to shotgun snap a football consistently.
Keeping the book right now, we ass.
Yeah, because I can't figure out how you can't shotgun snap a ball in the NFL.
Because it's garbage.
It's that little stuff that I lose my mind on.
Bro, your only job is to snap the ball correctly, and you can't even do it. Like, get your ass out of the building, dude. Just
it's
go.
Your job. You probably shotgun snap a football if you're one of those crotch rocket centers in the NFL. With all the prevalence of the shotgun in college and NFL football, what do you guys think? Probably 200 times a week?
Oh, yeah.
And then you get to game day and you're shooting it at a guy's knee like you're a porn star? Bro, get the ball up.
I need to catch the damn ball.
But Justin Field, you got to catch the football. They were in the game until he fumbled that snap.
I need to catch the damn ball.
When the ball was fumbled, was it just me or did it seem like he just kind of had a brain cramp and took longer than he needed? Just fall on the football. And then did you guys see his hand after he got up? Dude, bro stepped on his center stepped on his hand.
Bruh.
His non-throwing hand.
So wait, let me get this right. Let's just quick review. It's not good enough that you're terrible at snapping the football. Then you stepped on dude's hand and decapitated it. Nice job, dude.
It's Mike makes a really good point right here. Justin Fields was like, well, damn, guess that's a fumble. What are you doing?
Is he in connection with the mafia? Is that what it was?
I think I fumbled that ball.
Bobby from the Mafia had a prop that I would fumble.
Because the ball's not in my hand right now.
Yeah, let me think about this. So if I recover this, does he win or does he lose? Did I just say that snap, dude?
Are the Lucchese crime family going to come and get this dick if I don't jump?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Let me go check my phone really quick.
Recover the fumble.
Yeah, let me go check my phone.
Order a pizza, you prick. Like, hello?
Where is my Andy Paez moment if I'm Justin Fields?
Dude, like, what are we even doing, man? Like,
being garbage at what we do? That's what we're doing.
What are we even doing?
I don't understand it. And this is, I know that we're getting the usual updates of, oh, well, ESPN and YouTube TV are real close on this deal. But even if the deal got done, I wouldn't be more incentivized to watch the NFL this year, dude. It's been that terrible, bro.
No, the Sunday ticket, the $57 Sunday ticket payment that I got hit with today. Yeah, thanks for that, guys. Thanks for that. I did not know this, you guys. I did not know this. Marcus went to Notre Dame. I was unaware of this.
Bro is a Golden Domer preaching at me about Lincoln Riley. I love it.
I did not know he went to I did not know he went to Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, our mother.
Wait, what
was Bro involved in the girlfriend that never existed or what was his level of involvement at that time?
No, I'm not going to say what year he was there, but it was with a different quarterback. Yeah, thank you. There's the daily shut up Jake from Marcus.
Yeah, hey Marcus, why don't you send a selfie with your Golden Dome helmet on the next time you have a Lincoln Riley take, dude. Thank you.
Shut up,
bro.
Jake.
I sifted through all that.
LMAO ordered pizza, you prick. Right? Like it was weird. Like I totally noticed that Justin Fields is like, yeah, I might want to possibly fall on this football. I just
let's see. The football's rolling on the ground, and look, there's their middle linebacker. Let me take my iPhone out and open the Domino's app. Oh, sorry, my bad. The Papa John's app, and see when I can get it to the locker room, dude.
Did you guys
by the way, let me recover.
Did you guys like the Patriots uniforms? I'm a huge fan. The Drake May with that uniform, you can see it on the quarterback because he's rocked out like a He does
Bro,
cardio.
this is a family program. Can you?
I love the little stars. Because I don't like the Bills one. The Ice South Bills one. The Seahawks one, I don't really.
You really didn't like the Bills one?
Nah. Some of it. Like it's too muted for me. But,
The funny thing was, dude, the funny thing was Henderson actually getting properly sized name letters on the back of his jersey finally.
Yeah. How good has he been? Not defending Fields, but how many drop passes did those receivers have? It's a poorly coached football team. Let's just be honest. And I said this when they hired Aaron Glenn, and I don't take any pride in it. Aaron Glenn's not a head coach. Aaron Glenn's a coordinator. He's a great defensive coordinator and a motivator. He shouldn't be a head coach. Like the contrast between those two last night with Vrabel and Glenn. Mike Vrabel's a head coach.
Stud.
Like he gets it. That feature they ran about him relating to his players, and Aaron Glenn's not a head coach in my mind. Big Blue Horses, Patriots had great alternates. I liked them a lot, dude. But
here's the truth. The only alternate the Patriots should be wearing is the red one. It's that simple.
Did the
red
change colors again?
Huh?
Did the light change colors again?
It did. I believe it did. Yes.
Orange.
Yeah. I mean, listen. I know that you're gonna throat stretch for Texas in about 10 minutes, so that makes sense. But
what do you think? Purple?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
purple. I think white is next.
Blue.
Well, whatever that is. Yeah, blue's fine. Blue's my favorite color, so that's fine. It doesn't, it's fine. Rex Ryan was the last Jets coach that did anything with a team, and the word is he got lazy after a time and focused on feet. Yeah, you guys remember the feet thing? Joey, Tennessee Titans, worst head coach firing in NFL history. I was really surprised that nobody hired Vrabel before the Patriots did. We talked at nauseam. I thought
maybe he wanted to go there.
The Seahawks and the Bears should have done everything they can do. Everything they can do. Chad Perling, what's up, Chad? Good to see you. Tyreek Hill just changed his Instagram bio to unemployed. Who cares? Dude, just,
constantly got something going on off the field. Don't care.
Always. All right. Let's get into the games right here on the Monty Show. 3 massive games at a time when I think all of these games are just so critically important. Let's come back in the comments section. What is the game of the weekend? What is the game you're most looking forward to? Let's talk about that after this from the Advocates. Indeed, you do deserve an advocate at theadvocates.com. Yeah. The best injury attorneys in the business. There's going to be a lot of rain this weekend. A lot of snow in the mountains. Guys, be careful. Thanksgiving's coming up. There's going to be a lot more traffic on the road every weekend from here to the end of the year. If the worst happens, be ready to get the best at theadvocates.com, where you never pay out of pocket for clear, risk-free advice. And if you've ever been in a car accident, it's terrifying. It's jolting. You're not always thinking straight. That's why you need the Advocates at theadvocates.com, 24/7, 365, and it won't cost you a dime. Eric H. says, I live in Sarasota.
Nice, dude.
Okay. Texas and Georgia. Heard. Eric also says that's reality. Understand politics. LSU's 10,000 times a better job than the UF job. A lot of people do that. OU Alabama, because I enjoy watching OU lose. Only positive I could give Louisiana over Florida is the food. Lived in both places. Oh, that's right. You did live in Louisiana. Yeah, the food in the South. Yes. Texas, Georgia, also curious about Utah. If they don't dominate, they'll have zero chance. They're going to dominate. Before we get to the big boys, here are a couple of games that I'd really encourage you to watch. I think the game of the weekend in the top 25 is TCU at BYU. BYU's 3.5 at home against TCU. Defense is clearly banged up. Jake, how big is this game for BYU?
Oh, I think you can't understate or overstate how important it is. I mean, the game coming off of that Tech game, I think that getting your confidence back early in this one is going to be crucial. And I don't really give a damn how you want to go about this game if you're the offense, right? Like,
yes.
if you want to RPO this defense, if you want to run it down their throat, whatever you want to do, bro. This is a game where you should score 30 to 35 points. No excuses, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This defense is trash, and this offense and Parker Kingston and company and LJ, if he plays, need to get back going again. And I think that it's what I said on Monday coming off of the Tech performance. I think that BYU is in this place where I've been saying it. Maybe I'll be wrong. I'm not convinced you get in unless you win out. I'm not convinced. I think that last year you saw the shade nationally. You saw what people said after you lost that second game. Obviously, the third loss sealed your fate, but just if you go back and listen to the shows from last year after you lost to, I believe Kansas was your second loss last year. I'd have to go back and look. But basically you would
so much.
Yeah, so like you lost that second game and that was it for you. So the only way, in my opinion, is to go undefeated the rest of the way and stay in control. And so the narrative all week has been, well, hey, we're still in control. We control our destiny. Hey, we're in a good place. Like, everything's fine. But that quickly will shift in this game if you have more mistakes. And I know we talked all about it. Hey, the environment was big. Clearly, it was intimidating. You were a little shook. That's not going to be the case this week. I expect them to bounce back. Fully expect them to win this game. No doubt about it. But I'm just telling you, this is a game you don't watch for who's going to win or lose. It's a game you watch to see how they go about it and the confidence that they play with on both sides.
Yeah, and I think this is exactly right. I think BYU has to pull away, and I think they will. But much to Roche's point and Doug's point, this is a revenge game for Utah. Utah at Baylor. This has to be, I want to see Utah come out, and I want violence. I want anger. I want frustration. I want revenge. I want Dave Aranda to be packing his office after the game, humiliate them, embarrass them, dominate them, come out and absolutely jackhammer their balls into the turf at McLean. And I think you absolutely have to do that. And I think it's huge. It is just such a big, big game.
Now, I'm not looking to hurt anyone. I'm not looking to hurt anyone in this game, right? Not saying you're coaching your players to create an injury. But, yeah, I'm definitely coaching my players in this game if I'm Utah. If Sawyer Robertson is available to be hit on the field of play, you're hitting him, and you're hitting him hard. You are punishing him. And if it's the classic scenario of you and him, he's trying to run for the sideline, and he's not definitively out of bounds, I'm hitting him. I am. And I'm sending a message early in this game that we're here to kind of make a statement. And the week that your AD decided to get mixed up in whatever it is he's mixed up in, yeah, we're coming in.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Mac, whatever nonsense or poor decision making that's on full display. Yeah, we're looking to come in and make a point. And I think if you're Utah, all you're doing is you're saying we got to keep the pressure on BYU, right? We got to keep the pressure. We got to win out. We got to dominate out and hope that BYU makes a mistake for us to be able to get in.
I would agree with that. And I think the other game, and I know most people watching this show don't give a rat's ass about this, Virginia and Duke is a huge game in the ACC. And I know that it's not on anybody's menu. And I know that it's a 3:30. I think it's ESPN2 tomorrow. Looking at it, I think Duke is 4.5 points in that game. It's in Durham at Wallace Wade. And I think there is just no doubt in my mind. It is one of the games of the year. in the ACC. I think it is so incredibly important. And you look at the way that Virginia is sitting at 19. How about Louisville tonight? How about that game tonight? Like sneakily, Clemson at Louisville, which is coming up here in about an hour, is one of the most biggest, nastiest matchups. I think
we know what's going to happen in that game. We know Louisville's winning that game. We all know it.
And if they do, I think Jeff Brom announces that extension, because I am told that's really close. That is really, really close. But I'm telling you, the ACC has a couple of games, and we're going to talk about Notre Dame Pitt. But I think you look at Virginia.
Well, that's not an
and
ACC
Duke.
game, Monty. That's not an ACC game. Okay.
Shut up, Jake.
I'm sorry. Narduzzi told us. Sorry.
It's a Big Ten game. Notre Dame's in the big anyway. Virginia, number 19, Virginia at Duke is, I think, a huge game for you to pay attention to. And this is why Mensa's wearing a Dukies uniform.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is a huge, huge game. Now, if we're truth telling, my friends, it is not Texas at Georgia. Longhorns versus SRTs. Georgia's 6.5, 48.5 in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a Diddy party on the couch. It is.
I'm sorry, it's a Diddy party?
Bro, I want this game so bad. I want this game with every fiber of my intestinal tract. I don't know what that means. But when you look at Texas and you look at just how much work Sark has put into the mechanics of not Eli, not Peyton, not Archie, but Arch Manning.
My word.
You look at how much better Arch Manning has been over the last 3 weeks. And you look at how well he is throwing the ball with these new mechanics. Dude, I could not be more excited to see if Texas can go to Athens and win, because a loss for Georgia would put Georgia on the cusp of being out of the college football playoff.
Oh,
and
what a loser.
I think it would absolutely end any chance they have of getting a bye. It would also make Georgia Tech game an absolute national spotlight game.
Yes.
And if Georgia Tech is a game of leverage, we're all better for that. I think Texas, obviously they haven't missed the college football playoff yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here's the problem. Texas can't run the football. And Georgia's got one of the best run defenses in the country. So this game's going to come down to Arch Manning doing the job. And I know that I am one of the only people who has told you guys week in and week out, he's coming. He's coming. Getting better. He's growing. It's Louis. He coming. Right? And I know that I started stroking dudes on this show.
Honestly, I start stroking guys.
When it comes to Arch Manning,
you got to get
I'm
stroked.
all in. Yeah, I'm a believer.
I think I've hit it every time.
And you're going to come a lot. And I think it's one of those things where
A lot.
I should stop.
Biologics.
But my point is, I've been on the Arch train the last 4 weeks because I've seen the improvement. I've watched the film. I've seen the mechanics in his lower half have just gotten so much better. And I know he's got 3 legs down there, but he's finally using a base.
His cock.
Arch is finally using a base to throw the football. Jake, I think
is what it is.
This is a chance for Arch to be the best quarterback in college football for the rest of the season if he wins this game tomorrow.
Yeah, well, and that's how you have to phrase it. I mean, if he wins the game, because he's going to have to. I completely agree. Texas doesn't run the ball. Georgia's got a prolific run defense. And I do think it's been shown that Georgia can be had over the top. They do tend to get a little too happy with playing close to the line of scrimmage. But for me, I'm not even in a place where I think that Arch is just going to be terrible and he's awful. That's not even what I'm saying in this game. I think that I would agree he's shown development. Everyone who didn't watch the Vandy game has no idea what the development looked like. You needed to watch that game to understand it, and it's clear. The guy, yes, has developed his mechanics, but I just think that there's a comfort level in the offense now for him. And I don't know if that's that they made an adjustment to how they're calling the offense for him, or like what, or if it's just him mentally freeing himself up. I don't know what all went into baking that cake, but they've done it, and he does look better. And my biggest concern is that you're on the road in a big time environment, and you can't have the type of offensive line performance that you had against Oklahoma. If
No,
you're
you
Texas,
cannot.
you can't have, just a situation where you're not giving him any time, and we're in this place where you're 3 and outing consistently to start the game, and Georgia's got like 15 or 10-minute drives for the first 3-4 drive. That can't happen in this game if you want to win it. And that, again, I want to be clear, that's not on Arch. That's on the offensive line. That's on the other guys.
Their offensive line has played better, but let me set you guys up to be wrong. Who's the number 1 rated passer in all of college football when he's kept clean? Who do you think that is? Yeah, that'd be Gunnar Stockton at Georgia. The number 1 rated passer in all of college football with a clean pocket, Gunnar Stockton at Georgia. But here's the problem. Who's the number 3 rated pass rush in the country? The Texas Longhorns. And I can only evangelize so much for one Pete Kwiatkowski, the defensive coordinator of the Texas Longhorns, when I tell you this game will come down to who hits the quarterback more. And I think with improved mechanics that have allowed him to stop thinking about throwing the football, because allegedly Arch's mental issues, and I think I talked about this quite regularly, his mechanics prevented him from making good decisions.
Yeah, you did.
He doesn't have to think about throwing the football anymore because now he's got a base. He's got the 3 legs down, and he has got a rocket for an arm. The guy has a phenomenal arm, and when have we seen it? The last 3 weeks. We're finally seeing the arm, right? We saw it in the one throw in the Ohio State game, and then we didn't see it until about 4 weeks ago. And now it's all we've seen. And I think if Texas's offensive line, which is better because Arch Manning is moving better and throwing better, and what is the one thing that Arch Manning has done and taken advantage of? Because I still maintain, and I've watched a lot of tape on this, I still maintain Texas does not have it at the skill positions. They're not as fast as they have been, and they are not nearly as deep as they have been. But the way that Arch has overcome that is he's taken the underneath stuff. He stopped becoming a hero ball thrower. And now, because he can be accurate with authority, he's taken the in routes. He's taken the routes that are allowing his guys to catch the ball in stride and run after the catch. And in the last 3 weeks, who is the number 1 yards after the catch team in the country? That'd be the Georgia Bulldogs. Yeah, I said it. The Georgia Bulldogs. This is going to be a game, very simply put, who hits the quarterback. Because if you do not hit Arch Manning, Texas is going to chew you up underneath. And Arch, and if you go look at the tape, Arch has become a phenomenal thrower 7 yards and deeper in the middle of the field. And what Texas lacks in pure class at the skill positions, particularly outside, they make up for in scheme and the ability to run after the catch. I think that stat will determine this game because Gunnar Stockton is not great underneath. Gunnar Stockton's become a much better thrower deep down the right sideline. And that move, he is terrible throwing the ball. If he's rolling to his left, fucking forget it. He is. If you allow Gunnar Stockton to roll right and throw down the field, he will absolutely shred you.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to come down to yards after the catch. And if that's the case, I think I'm taking Texas to win this game 31-27.
Yeah, I think that I just can't take Texas to win this game, dude. It's difficult. I don't disagree with your assessment, but they got to prove that they can beat a team of this caliber on the road. And that's why I think the safer option would be Georgia in a tight one, 28-27, You okay there?
I don't know. Hang on. Let me go look. What the fuck was that?
Oh boy. My take was so ass that Monty had to leave the show. But yeah, no, I think that I would take Georgia 28-27. Texas will cover. And I think that Georgia's defense is going to get tired from being on the field too much. And I don't know if that's Arch turnovers or if it's dominating D-line play from Georgia. I think Arch will be fine in this game, personally. I think I agree with what Monty's been saying. He's taking the underneath stuff. He's taking what the defense is giving him, but I just don't like I don't like the odds. Something doesn't feel right to me about Texas winning this game. And that's why, for me, I have Georgia 28-27. And I think it'll be a game of the year. I think it will be, I said on Tuesday that I think it's similar to the Bama-Georgia game. That was an overtime thriller. I think you're getting something like that. And that's what will be. Yeah, fight on. Yeah, my takes are usually ass anyways. I know I'm never right about anything. I get it. So, whatever. Okay, what happened?
This is a longer story than I probably have time to tell right now. I bought
Who knocked on your door this time?
Nobody. I bought an e-bike. I take Atari. I move. I bought this e-bike the last week of August when I found out we were moving. Had it shipped to my house in Salt Lake. Had the movers move it to Seattle. Dropped it off at REI. They built it. I go pick it up last night. Not a fucking e-bike. Not an e-bike. Not an e-bike. Didn't get the right bike. $2,000 bike. Not the right bike. Long story short, the bike is sitting in my condo living room. The dog wanted to go bike riding. So the dog, I walk into my living room and the dog has decided that the Trek bicycle is a good ladder to climb onto the counter. He jumped onto a box, I think, jumped onto the seat and jumped onto my counter and knocked a bowl into the sink, which is what I heard that distracted me.
Incredible.
So, this is the life I live now. Yeah, how about this? I buy a $2,000 bike from Trek on the phone. I get on the phone with Trek. Hey, okay, great, done. It sits in my house for a month, 6 weeks now. I go pick it up and they're like, yeah, it's only going to be $100 to put this thing together. It's not an e-bike. You guys had it marked as an e-bike. I called Trek this morning and they're like, yeah, why don't you? And there's a massive Trek store here in Seattle. They're like, yeah, if you bring it back, we'll give you your money back. You can pick out any bike you want. Okay.
Damn.
It is a rat terrier. So,
he was on the show earlier, no?
Yeah, has a really rough life. I don't have a rough life at all. Don't pull a Kennard Davis on your e-bike, bro.
Damn, bro. Damn.
I'm not riding an e-bike because it is, and I was just looking out my whole condo is windows. Like I live in a high rise, and my whole condo is windows. And it's pouring rain in Seattle. It's wild. Hey, hello, Glenn. Hey, Monty, get a new bike. Russell Wilson says, let's ride. Say, Jake, that's a drop request. Now that he's out of a job, did you guys see that he got benched? And when I say benched, like super benched.
Let's ride.
Yeah. Thank you, Jake. I appreciate that. Anyway.
Hey, Glenn, thanks for showing up once a month, dude. Appreciate it.
Wow.
Thanks for showing up, dude. You think you could just come in here for the first time in like a month and start requesting drops? I see how it is.
Glenn's a long timer on the show.
I'm kidding. Don't get pissy.
The problem is The problem is now San Diego State's actually winning games. And so now Glenn gets to have a tail feather up.
Ooh, we play at Snapdragon where nobody's in the building. Okay, dude. Thanks.
Bruh's
gotta eat.
Let's ride.
Exactly right.
Bro's excuses, he's been hustling. That's why he can't show up. Okay.
Don't pull a Biden on your bike either. Bro, I'm good at riding bikes.
No duh.
Monty, make sure the batteries on your bike don't get too warm in your pad. Yeah, don't leave it plugged in. Monty, do you think Stock can avoid the pressure if you blitz him? I think he's terrible blitzed. Gunnar Stockton. I think this is pretty straightforward for me. I think when I look at this situation, Georgia, Texas, I think it's going to be one of two things. It's going to be 17-14 defensive battle. I don't think so. I think it's going to be 31-27 Texas. And I think it's because Texas's defense they're so schematically sound. They are ready. I think Sark and his staff do a better job than anybody at preparing their players consistently, week in and week out. And the thing that you see with Texas football players is they take those little pieces every week and they bring them to the next week and the next week, and it just piles on. So that's why you've seen Texas get consistently better. And you see the quality, the rep rate and the quality of those reps creeping up, because every week they're building on what they're being taught. And where have you seen that in the past? And I'm not saying that this is who they are. Nick Saban's Alabama used to do the exact same thing. And I think that's exactly what you're seeing. So, who has the best O-line, D-line in Texas, Georgia? I look at Texas's O-line and I think it's really difficult to grade them because they've gotten consistently better. I would say Georgia's defensive line is better against the run, not better at the rush. Texas's defensive line is better at getting home on the quarterback and not as good against the run. So we'll have to see. I mean, I'm telling you, Arch Manning, he is, since week 7, he is 82.4 passer grade at PFF.
What's his QBR?
Ask your mom.
He
is, and you guys won't believe me, but his when you take out the drops, which is essentially adjusted completion percentage, you take out the drops and things, Arch Manning in the last 3 weeks is completing 78.5% of his passes. Let that sink in. 78.5% completion for Arch Manning. That's unbelievable. I think that's 7th. Like, that's unbelievable, right? And Manning is doing it underneath. I mean, his average rate of target or his average depth of target is 6.5 yards. Sark is doing an unbelievable job building the offense, installing it, and then calling the offense. So I just love Texas in big games. I love Arch in big games. I love Sark in big games. I'm one of the few that believe Steve Sarkisian I think he's become a significantly better play caller. We saw it in the postseason last year. Jake and I talked a lot about this on the show, so I know this is not breaking news.
Right.
I think Steve Sarkisian was significantly better, and you really saw it against Vanderbilt when you had to fucking have it, right? And you had a top 10 Vandy team where, and every week for Texas, the season's on the line now, but you had a top 10 Vandy team and they broke Pavia's spirit. They broke him. And is he not the same quarterback as Gunnar Stockton? Just Gunnar Stockton's not as good. I think I'd rather have Pavia over Stockton.
Stockton's played in many more big games right, of leverage.
But I agree. But remember, this is his first year starting full time, and Gunnar Stockton's been really good.
Yeah.
But Diego Pavia is a better quarterback. And I think when you look at the way that Texas handled Pavia, I don't think it's too dissimilar from this game. He was 27 of 38. Now, he also threw for 365 yards.
Yeah.
But what mattered most? When the game was on the line, Texas beat his ass.
Yeah, listen, I think that the big thing for Texas's defense is not getting overexposed on the field. You can't be on the field for, too long. And that a lot of that has nothing to do with them. It's about the offense. So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think a lot of this game even comes down to pure numbers. I mean, I think they definitely paint a picture and can give us some expectations. But the reality is that a lot of this comes down to are you going to have a good tackling day or are you going to have a bad tackling day? Are you, if you're that offense, like, can the O-line give you a good performance? It is very much a week in, week out thing. As far as the O-line is concerned, I mean, are we going to see, remember the Jeremiah Smith drops in the Texas game, week 0, like we're week 1, is that, are we going to see some of that? Yeah. I mean, I think that's the kind of thing that you're looking for in this game. And I disagree that this Texas team has been great in big games. I think this is the first one where they could potentially be great in a big game. The Vandy game wasn't, in my opinion, for Texas, wasn't a big game. That was a game they should have won.
Oh my God, are you out of your mind?
Pavia, yeah, no, I think that Pavia talked a bunch of junk and wanted to be that guy.
Wow.
And Texas humbled him, and I think that's what they should have done. And it's funny. Disagree. It's funny. Pavia likes to talk a bunch of junk, and has been humbled multiple times by better quarterbacks and better teams this year. So,
well, because I think, but again, there's this belief that Vanderbilt doesn't win big games. I think there's no question Vanderbilt's not the same team that they were last year. But they beat LSU and Missouri back to back. And then they got beat by Texas. You got to give Texas some credit for that.
Yeah.
No, like, you look at Alabama probably put the blueprint out on them because Texas and Alabama played pretty much the same game plan. But they also beat South Carolina. They also beat Virginia Tech and Blacksburg, South Carolina and Columbia. Like, it's not like Vandy has beaten nobody. Now, my biggest concern, if we're being honest, is that I want to see was Texas's defense against Oklahoma only because John Mateer was beat up? That's what I need to understand, because they fucking handled Oklahoma. Let's be honest. They handled Oklahoma.
They did.
They handled Vanderbilt.
Oklahoma's D-line handled Texas's O-line, though, in that game.
They did. But what did we see after that game, though? A significant shift in scheme and blocking scheme out of Texas.
We did.
And Texas, since that game, Texas's offensive line has been significantly better. But what else did we see in that game? That's the last time we saw shit mechanics out of Arch Manning. So he's been able to throw much better, because I go to Arch's 21-27 against Oklahoma as a line of demarcation on the season.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. That's spot on. I would agree with that.
Only 4 carries for Arch Manning in that game. 21-27. He was a mobile quarterback who ran because he needed to, not because he wanted to. So I don't know. My belief is that Texas is a better team than we're giving them credit for. And my belief is that Georgia loses this game, Georgia's season is in real peril.
Oh, both of them. If Texas loses, their season's over.
If Texas loses, their season's over.
Yeah.
If Georgia loses, their road becomes significantly more difficult. They're in, the bye's gone for sure, I think. But you look at Georgia's schedule: Marshall, Austin Peay, Tennessee. Remember the game at Tennessee? Shootout. They lose. They turn around then and lose to Alabama in Athens. Kentucky at Auburn. Ole Miss, 43-35 at home.
They won that game, right?
Yes. Florida 24-20, and then they blew out a really bad Mississippi State team in Starkville. I'm telling you, Texas is winning this game, and it's going to be 30-27. And I feel like as much as I think Texas is doing this, because I think they are, I think Georgia's doing this. And as we've gotten deeper and deeper into the season, and again, I'm not telling you that Gunnar Stockton's been a bad quarterback. The guy's thrown and I want to make sure I get this right. Hang on. I'm not telling you he's been a bad quarterback because I don't believe it. He's thrown for 2,000 yards now, right? And in the SEC, that's saying something. But I want you to understand, Tennessee, they win in overtime 300 yards, 23-31, 74%. That's a really good game. Alabama, 13-20, 130 yards. Ole Miss, 26-31, 289 yards. Good game. So he's split, and I think Texas's defense is significantly better than Ole Miss and on par with Alabama. And I think who's the most disappointing defense in the SEC amongst the Titans this year? Well, that'd be the Tennessee Volunteers. And I'm telling you, the number to watch on Gunnar Stockton is 200 yards. I think you have got to keep him in the pocket, under pressure, make him make mistakes. And if you do that, and I think Texas can, I think Texas wins this game. And I am 75% convicted on that. I am 75% convicted on that. So, yeah, it absolutely is a loser leave town match. There ain't no doubt about that. Yeah. Joey Harper, Texas handled Vandy for 3 quarters, and then Vandy outscored Texas in the 4th. Truth. But I think Texas let down. Texas season isn't over if they lose. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
I want some of what you're smoking, dude.
I mean, if Georgia loses a close one to Texas, they'll still be in the top 10. I would agree with that. But a loss is a loss. That bye is gone. That bye is gone, in my opinion. You're all always wrong with score predictions. Cool,
man. Yeah, you're here commenting about helping the show. Appreciate you.
And I'm usually not wrong about outcomes of games. Texas could easily stay in if they lose tomorrow and beat A&M.
Yeah, I don't think so, dude. 3-loss team ain't getting in this year.
I think that's going to be really tough. I think getting in as a 3-loss team, and there's so much to talk about with that. I mean, it is, in my opinion, entirely predicated on what everybody around. If you lose, you need help. You need help, right? And obviously, in A&M's 9-0, they're not going to lose until they play Texas. And obviously, the advantage is that game's at DKR. So, I mean, what is that? A 7:30? That's a night game.
Damn well better be a night game. You kidding me?
I mean, I that's going to be one of the games of the year. But again, here's my question: what's the quality win for Texas A&M this year? What's probably only the Notre Dame game that was on the road at the stadium, but. You look at what's the hole in the Missouri win. Well, obviously, Perbulo's out for the year. So they didn't have their best quarterback on the field. I would argue LSU's not a good win, right? Their wins are UTSA, Utah State, Notre Dame, Auburn, Mississippi State, Florida, Arkansas, LSU, Missouri. And now you've got South Carolina, Samford, and at Texas. If they lose that Texas game, I think it does a lot more damage to A&M than we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
because I don't see a lot of quality wins.
I don't know that the committee is good enough. I'm going to be honest. I don't think the committee is good enough to go that deep in A&M's schedule and to remember that Perbula was out.
Oh, I think they know Perbula's out. I think when I totally disagree with that. I think, like you start looking at some of the numbers. And there's a reason when you go across Texas A&M's line, they're 15th in strength of schedule. There's a reason for that. And I think absolutely the committee remembers that. And look at their remaining strength of schedule. 21st. There's a reason. And I think the committee will recognize that. And I think when you get into who the real power players in football are, notice who's not number one. Well, that'd be Texas A&M, who's 7th. And I think justifiably so. And I think when you look at Bama, Oregon, I think Texas A&M, there's a reason they only have a 26% chance to win that conference. And it's going to be, the proof is in the pudding, man. The proof is in the pudding, right? Like, let's see how it all plays out. I'm taking Texas tomorrow. I'm taking Texas. If Texas wins, they'll be top 5. What would they be with an Aggie loss? Oof. I don't think we can predict that right now. I think we got to wait on that. So, yeah, and I think this is exactly right. That is going to be the one that haunts Arch this year. So, Mark Harlan is part of the college football playoff committee now. He's going to keep BYU out, Monty. Jake says to me, are we going to talk about that? Are we going to talk about Mark Harlan trying to screw? Do you think that's real, Jake?
No, I don't. I think Mark Harlan would advocate for any Big 12 team to get in if the resume is there, and BYU's is.
Okay. Listen, I think that okay. I don't think he would do that. I don't. Texas doesn't have 4 games left. No, they don't. I think if Texas loses tomorrow, I think their season's essentially over.
It's over.
Texas or Georgia, which team is James a fan of exactly?
I don't know. Dude's still in the rectory, apparently.
Monty, finally agree A&M, they only have one decent win, and it's only because people are propping us up that they get a decent win. You know how big this game is tomorrow for the fellas? You guys know how big this game is? It's a huge game. This is, you might as well play this nude, because this is a big swing and dick game. Because you're going to run yourself into each other, and I want violence. I want anger. I want to shave my mustache because it itches like crazy for some reason.
Anybody see that Pitt's starting kicker's out tomorrow?
Screw him. Oh, man. Monty, let me tell you about what we're playing for here in Pittsburgh.
This is a must-win for this team when it comes to something.
Absolutely not. It is not an ACC game. I'm glad you brought that up. It's not an ACC game. I gladly get beat 103 or 110 to 10 in that game. They can put 100 up on us as long as we win the next 2 after that. But again, our focus is on Notre Dame and getting as many wins as we can.
Bro, I want revenge. I am only here to see Pat Narduzzi get his balls knocked off by the beloved. I want violence, boy. That's what I want. I want to see Pat Narduzzi suck it when, that's probably too much.
Biggest kick in the balls you'll ever get.
And you can mea culpa and backpedal and kiss Pat McAfee's ass on his show today and totally get it. You're not getting away from this.
Well, he was on Pat's show.
He was. I hope you lose by 103. Better for Texas A&M. This is a game now where you tried to spin the fact that you can't tackle Notre Dame. That's what this is going to come down to, right? Notre Dame's 9th in the nation in rushing grade. Jeremiah Love leads the country at a 91.9 rushing grade, ranks 4th, 28 explosive runs. Jadarian Price, 77.8 rushing grade of his own. And I get it. Pittsburgh's got an excellent unit, 2nd in the nation in PFF run grade, outstanding linebackers. Kyle Lewis is a stud. Raheem Biles, obviously Cameron Lindsay. Fantastic. All of that and a bag of dicks gets you a bag of dicks. Because you also got to remember that all anybody talks about with Notre Dame's offense is, oh, they run the ball, they run the ball, they run the ball, they run the ball. Well, Lloyd Carr's nephew or whatever the hell he is, grandson, who cares? Screw Michigan. CJ Carr's a pretty good passer of the football. And I think that we can all sit here and we can pretend and hope that this is a close game. But I can only hope that Marcus Freeman's looking to knock people's teeth out on the curb. Because I think that's what Pat Narduzzi deserves. I hope they remind Pat Narduzzi who Notre Dame is, and I hope they remind little buddy that your seats you belong in the back seat. Get your ass in the back seat. And I hope this derails your season, because when you talk shit about Notre Dame, you talk shit about everybody. Notre Dame 179, Pitt nothing.
Am I supposed to be convinced this is a big game? That somehow Pitt is going to be competitive in this game? I mean, is that what I'm supposed to be doing today with this game? Because I'm not convinced at all that this is a close game.
I think it's going to be much closer than we think.
Nah, I don't think so, dude. No, I disagree. I think that Notre Dame's got this by 10 points, at least. I think their defense shows up. I think they're going to run all over them. I think they're going to eat a lot of clock, and I think Pitt's going to turn the football over because Notre Dame's going to be downhill looking to prove a point.
Okay, if we're telling the truth, I don't think Notre Dame's running all over Pitt. I think you're going to run because that's what you do. But CJ Carr is still able to push the ball down the field and win shootouts with any quarterback in this country. And I think Pitt's run defense and the fact that Notre Dame struggles in zone is what's going to keep this game close. We're terrible in zone coverage. But I think when you have a quarterback, the likes of Mason Heinzel, who loves to put the ball in danger, I think Notre Dame's defense learned a very difficult lesson multiple times in this season by not catching the football. I think Notre Dame's going to win this game. But don't kid yourself into believing that this is going to be a blowout. This is a 7-point game at most. And my feeling is Notre Dame wins this game 27-20. And I think they do it because they get a defensive pick six.
Yeah. We just see it differently. I think that this is a game where the numbers for Pitt are inflated because they don't play anybody. And the teams they did play that were worth anything, they lost to. And I think that the only reason guys like Pat Narduzzi say the things that they say is because they want nothing to do with being accountable to playing a team that's better than them. And that's why you said what you said. That's why, because what is he doing? He's laying the foundation for a big loss. I'm happy to lose 103 or 110 to nothing because this isn't an ACC game. Okay, cool. Well, you're going to see that play out when you lose 30-10, when you lose 30-17.
He said today, and I'm curious if you buy this. He said today, I'm just a guy who talks. Sometimes I say things I go too far.
Yeah, see, no. You don't sometimes say things, dude. Play the clip again. Notice what he said. I'm glad you asked this. He's been waiting to be asked this question, bro. Come on.
Like this is a must-win for this team when it comes to something.
Absolutely not. It is not an ACC game. I'm glad you brought that up. It's not an ACC game. I gladly get beat 103 or 110 to 10 in that game. They can put 100 up on us as long as we win the next two after that. But again, our focus is on Notre Dame and getting as many wins as we can.
They're going to beat the hell out of this team, dude. I'm happy to be wrong about this one. They're going to beat the piss out of this team. And you don't say something like that against Notre Dame and think that Marcus isn't going to just be relentless with proving a point in this game. I wouldn't be surprised to see 2 turnovers. I wouldn't be surprised if Mason threw a pick and then they fumbled once in this game and Notre Dame scored on both of those. I would not at all be surprised to see a 30-17, 30-14 kind of performance out of Notre Dame. I would absolutely be taking that personally.
I hope you're right. I mean, obviously, Calamoni's right when he gifted 20 Monty Show to make you actually play a drop. My bad, Jake. I hope you're right. I truly hope you're right. I don't know that I am, but when guys like Calamoni show up and they give 20 Monty Show memberships, I don't know how you can be wrong, Jake.
Yeah,
I really don't know how you can be wrong.
It's an insurance policy, so there you go.
Brah. Anyway, I think Notre Dame has a better chance to lose to a MAC or SBC team, but one can hope. Did you have to throw in the one can hope? My 94-piece penny collection is going to be worth a whole $1 in 10 years. Yeah, we're no longer making pennies. We talked about that yesterday. What is the plan for the 1 through 4 cent denomination now that the penny is gone? There is no plan. You just round up. That's it. Notre Dame wins 27-21 over Pitt. Pitt does have a stout run defense. Yes, they do. But I think we're going to find out, because it's not also, and I think that listen, obviously I'm a bit of a homer, but looking into Pitt, what's Pitt's best win? What is Pitt's best win? Is it Duquesne or Central Michigan? Is it Boston College? Is it Florida State?
Yes.
Okay, so Florida State's their best win. That's what we're saying. Florida State ran for 170 yards and averaged 4.3 yards a carry.
Mediocre-ass Florida State who did that with their quarterback.
Okay. What about the Stanford win? I mean, this could be, okay, well, Stanford ran for minus 10 yards. I'm going to say that Stanford didn't pose the test that we had all hoped. Now, is Louisville their best win? No, because they lost that game. And why did they lose that game? Because they only gave up 80 yards rushing and 330, they only gave up 392 total yards, 53 yards rushing, but 339 yards passing. And Louisville is not the passing attack that Notre Dame is.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like,
Monty, how can you say that, Monty? Well, I can comfortably say that because when you look at Notre Dame and you look at Louisville, they're not entirely different teams. But you look at the games where Notre Dame's run into a stout defense. Texas A&M, one of the better defenses Notre Dame has seen. Notre Dame ran for 136 yards and averaged 3.5 yards a rush and threw for 293 yards and lost 41-40 in overtime because they gave up 488 total yards. You're not putting up 488 total yards, Pitt. That's not going to happen. Right? Let's look at tendencies. USC, probably the best multi-threat offense Notre Dame's faced this year. Notre Dame threw for 136 yards, ran for 306 yards and averaged 7 yards a carry. Okay, Pitt's a better run defense than SC in a bad weather situation. But also in that game, I would remind you that Jaden Mayava threw for 328 yards, 2 scores, and 2 picks. King Miller had 18 for 70. Notre Dame's defense struggles in one aspect. It is zone coverage, and that's not going to happen against Pitt. So Pitt lost to West Virginia in football and just got that ass thumped by West Virginia in basketball. Owned. Right? Pitt's best win is Notre Dame. Okay, we'll find out, right? We'll find out. Hey, Monty, what are you going to do when you wake up and see your ghost riding that bike? I have no idea, dude. I'll probably piss myself. Which is what Oklahoma is going to do when they head to Bryant-Denny Stadium. Oh, this is a beaut. This right here is supposedly, and I know you guys, Monty don't know ball. This is supposedly the game where John Mattier is going to be back to his old self. Oklahoma at Alabama, 3:30 Eastern on ABC. Alabama wants revenge. They want revenge. They got their ass kicked by Oklahoma last year. If Alabama wins this game, it'll likely it will likely knock Oklahoma out of any opportunity at all to be relevant. And the bots are back in the chat. God damn it. And you had to go do that. We had eliminated the bots because we put on a 5-minute commenting delay. God damn it. Anyway, the point is, if Oklahoma loses this game, I don't think there's any way their season comes to an end.
Yes.
Right? I don't think there's any way. But you love Alabama in this game.
Yes, I do. And listen, I'm a John Mateer guy. I love Buddy. He's a great
You're
quarterback. John Mateer. He of one hand.
John Mateer.
You know, yeah, John Mateer. Headband in one hand. John Mateer. You know, I love watching him play football. But the problem is Bama's a better team than you are. They have more weaponry. They are more prepared. They are just simply a better team. And for me in this game, I understand the line being 6.5. I would probably have it at 10. Honestly, I think that Bama, the throwing ability of Ty Simpson and his ability to recognize a defense and manipulate a defense, that to me is invaluable. You cannot measure how much of an impact that has on a football game. And I also think that the Bama defense is relentless, and I think they're playing really good football. They're not over pursuing, and I think the only thing that they can't do in this game is allow John to get going in the run game. You let John Mateer have the edge.
Mateer.
You don't contain him. You don't seal John Mateer and force him to the middle of the field running it. Then you're going to be asking for trouble in this game. But I have a hard time believing.
What is Alabama's biggest weakness under Kalen DeBoer's defense?
The red polo shirt being worn.
Dual threat quarterbacks who are prolific runners and passers have been absolutely kneecapping. They allow 5.5 yards a carry and a 19.8 explosive run play percentage against mobile dual threat quarterbacks. Can you believe I'm about to say this? That is the 8th worst mark in all of FBS. They're terrible against dual threat quarterbacks. I think if Alabama's offensive line can contain Oklahoma's pass rush, and they've done a outstanding job of keeping Ty Simpson clean. They're 7th best in the country, 82.4 in pass blocking. And every one of Alabama's top 8 offensive linemen, here's a stat that should blow your mind. Every one of the top 8 offensive linemen in Alabama have played a minimum of 145 snaps.
That's wild.
That is wild how much depth they have on the offensive line. I think Alabama has been excellent. The best thing they do offensively is blitz pickup. And I think the Crimson Tide have to protect Ty Simpson. They have to pick up the blitz. And if they do that, and I think they will win a field goal contest. And I think it's 24-21 Alabama.
Yeah, I think it's wider than that. I think John's going to turn it over in this game. And that's what I think gives Alabama the 10-point victory. I think that this is a 27-17 win. I think that Alabama's defense is opportunistic, and we'll see. I mean, is John going to go the Jackson Dart route and take a bunch of big hits in this game early in the game, or is he going to protect himself?
Almost certainly he's going to get hit.
Yeah, I mean, the guy has got to be smarter. So I mean, we're not even mentioning that if he leaves this game early, right? So assuming he stays healthy and assuming he's smart, I like Bama by 10 in this game when it's all said and done.
Oh boy, how about some breaking news out of the basketball world? Patrick Beverley has been arrested for assault in Texas. 3rd-degree felony. He was taken into custody in Richmond, Texas, according to the records. Assault on a family member, household member impeding breath or circulation.
Family.
So he choked somebody, it sounds like.
Yeah.
That's not good. Oh, that's ugly. That is ugly. And boy, you hope everybody's okay. But it's getting harder to like Patrick Beverley.
Yes, it is.
It is getting much more difficult to like Patrick Beverley.
Yeah.
So, Tampa Bay 36, Buffalo 35 on Sunday morning. Okay. I'm really worried about the Bills making the playoffs because Josh Allen has regressed significantly. Texas win, Pitt wins, Oklahoma wins. If that happens, talk about total college football chaos. Oh, that would be. As I love to see chaos and mayhem in college football playoff, Oklahoma would throw the biggest monkey wrench of the year. I just don't think they can. Alabama 24-20. I would agree with that. Ooh, Paxton's got a 34-20.
Well, of course. He's a Texas fan.
Bama has had several close calls this year to teams they should be stomping, but
yeah, they turned a corner though, dude.
But what's the flip side of that? What's the flip side of that? Look at the wins. Look at, and I think there's a reason that there's only 2 6-0 teams in the SEC. LSU, South Carolina, Tennessee, Missouri, Vandy, Georgia, Wisconsin, UL Monroe. And they really were not that close with South Carolina. The Missouri game was a little curious as to what and how.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, what is going on in my house?
What are you hearing now?
I don't know. Like I think my TV is on.
Check it.
The fuck?
Yeah, I agree with this. Louisville's beating Clemson. No question about it. I just think guys get to the end of their run, dude. I think, he's been a one-year guy, one-year contract guy, bounce around different teams, be that dude, great career, whatever, but you can't be choking people, man. That's not gonna.
Bro, what are we doing? Like, I'm not even trying to be like Mr. Sensational guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is pitch black outside of my studio.
Mm-hmm.
The TV is on, and the stupid beeping I was hearing is my dishwasher, which is, we have to leave it open because it's a shitty dishwasher and it doesn't dry anything. And it's just beeping, beep, beep. Sometimes there's just some weird stuff that happens in this joint. Like, how is my TV turning on?
Maybe the dog decided it wanted to watch some programming.
He's passed out in his bed over here. Like, what in the... Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Before I die, if I die, I die.
Mm-hmm.
Is there... No, Urlacher son is not. Vegas. If we had a better game calling coach, Miami would have destroyed Notre Dame. Well, let's be honest,
dude.
Let's be honest. What if Aiden Schuler had tried to take the neck off your quarterback? Okay, What if when he was in coverage, he tried to intercept the pass that Carson Beck threw up for a Sunday drive through the prairie? He just threw that ball up like ain't nobody's business. It's crazy to me that people want to say, well, we could have. No, you couldn't have. Yeah, absolutely.
If you could have, you would have.
Right? So the thing that I struggle with is I don't believe that Miami has ever been anything special. I said that to start the year. I think you have some special players. I don't believe that you have outstanding depth of talent. Carson Beck's an average-ass quarterback. Mario Cristobal's an average-ass head coach.
Yep.
I think you have a really good running back. I think you have 3 really good wide receivers, and you have a really special defensive unit. And I just think that's the totality of it. I don't believe that you have, all this awesomeness that people want to talk about.
Because if you did, you wouldn't be in the position you're in, bro. That's the reality of it.
But I just think that that's the battle that we live in. Man, I don't know how these bots are getting by the 5-minute filter all of a sudden.
Did we verify it's on today? I know you turned it on, but
yes. Like, it is wild to me how many of these bots are just, because that had really successfully for the last month ended that. This idea that, hey, bots are coming in, and because we made it so that you cannot comment. Yeah, it's 5 minutes. You have to be subscribed to the channel, and you can only comment after 5 minutes once you subscribe. And yet here they are. Like, it's wild to me, the technology, but I think Carson Beck's been your biggest problem. I just think I think Notre Dame can't cover in zone. Miami used that against them. They can't cover. We are not a zone team at all. We do not have the intellectuals that we had last year on that defense. And it's a real problem. It is a real problem. Because teams like, pick your poison, but the better teams that you face on a year in, year out basis are just simply not going to play that game. So I think if Miami winds up with Lenora Sellers next year, now you're cooking with gas. There's a lot of smoke on that fire. I think Lenora Sellers wants to play in Florida. And I think if Lane goes to Florida, that's where he's going to go. And I think some people are nervous about the politics at Miami because it just continues to be a blight. So, but there you have it. There at the end of the lesson for the week, my friends. It has been a real pleasure. Another really good week being with you. Enjoy the games. Go Notre Dame. Texas, Notre Dame, Alabama. That's my pick. Go Bears. Thanks to the Advocates, great partners. Couldn't do the show without the Advocates. Couldn't do the show without you. Until Monday, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.